welcome to another episode of Off the Leash, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. And what a week of action. We've got a double header, Cat 1s. We're up to Newcastle for the Northern Puppy Derby, and we're off to Monmore for the Ladbrokes Winter Derby as well. As ever, we're in fantastic company. Racing Post open race correspondent Tony Bullen joins us. Tony, how's your form?
Yeah, not too bad. We're getting there. We had a sort of up and down spell, but you roll with the punches in this sport, Dave. But some good finals to ponder over.
Well, we roll with the punches. Knockout blow last week. Both our naps went in, which was beautiful. Droopy's Pivotal left it late for you in the semi-final of the Winter Derby. Scammer left it quite late for me as well at Romford. But we got the job done. They were backable prices, working man's prices, if you like. Both odds against. Yours was in particular was a decent price as well. But we'll get on to all of that. You, of course, you already know the drill. You're here on the Racing Post YouTube channel or you're watching us on Facebook. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Let us know if maybe you're clutching anything anti-post for this week's two finals. We've got the Stars of the Future on show. Maybe you picked out something at a big price early doors. A lot of the market principles have come to the fore in that event. And, of course, the Winter Derby is still very much up for grabs. Railers everywhere you look. Maybe you picked out something at a big price there and have got through to the final. But it does kind of feel like cream has risen to the top in both events. A double header, Tony. As ever, you know, we're up to episode 49. I think I've said it on almost every show, but it's like this conveyor belt of big competition after big competition. We're being kept busy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've noticed in recent times it's a lot of the same dogs sort of taking turns in beating one another. But as I say, you can only sort of put out what's around. But there's still some very good quality finals to look at.
Absolutely, and we're going to jump straight in to that right now. We're going to head to Monmore on Saturday night. There's £10,000 up for grabs in the Ladbrokes Winter Derby. Quite a new competition, but always attracts a decent field. We've got a good final as well. Let's have a look how they got there then. 3 semi-finals last weekend. First two go through. 480 metres at the Wolverhampton venue. We're going to go to semi-final number 1. And it was Proper Heiress all the way out in trap 6. 5 was vacant. We knew that Long Acres Magic had come out. Made the task a little bit easier, but there were 6 raiders. Queen Georgia in 2 was well fancied. But it was Proper Heiress who showed proper 4-bend early pace to the turn, who led Tony. And Mike Burton's Droopy's Superstar on the inside stayed on strongly. I thought ran an absolute storm. I clipped the rail at the 4th bend. Was only beaten a couple of lengths. 6 over 1, winning time, fastest of the night, 27.97.
Yeah, I needed to come away running from a wide draw. Obviously, wants to be nearer the rails, but when coming away like that, Proper Heiress took a stranglehold of the contest. He's strong as an ox as well. That's the beauty of his dog. He's not just an out-and-out front runner and you're looking over your shoulder. He sustains a strong gallop. He showed that when winning the Olympic at Hove, and he's a proper dog when he gets on the bunny. And as you touched on, Droopy's Superstar has been a real superstar in recent weeks at Monmore. You wouldn't necessarily put him down as a Monmore dog because of his style of running, but he's shown some clever track craft to keep on sneaking into the frame and pop up at decent prices, but he was never going to lay a glove on Proper Heiress. I think it takes something very special to peg back Proper Heiress when he's on the bunny.
Yeah, very strong over the 4 bends. And the spread of how many times the word proper is said during this show's gone through the roof already. Droopy Superstar, trained by Mike Burton. Now, nice piece going in the Racing Post on Thursday this week. Recording this on a Wednesday morning. I've caught up with Mike. Obviously, a Cat 1 winner, and I think his dog finished 4th in the Derby. Screen critic as well as an owner. Now a trainer. And a former professional rugby player as well. He played for England, 17 appearances, I think it was, for England. The British and Ireland Lions as well, and some 300 appearances for Gloucester as well. So a real legend on the rugby field. And he's got a nice team of dogs. This Droopy Superstar stays strongly. And look out for a very exciting young pup that they've got as well, Droopy's Aladdin, who's going to be turning up at Monmore soon for the Midlands Puppy Derby. But yeah, look out for that in Thursday's Racing Post. Really nice piece and a lovely chap as well. Mike loves his dogs, certainly knows the time of day as well. And who knows, you know, he's confident that his dog's strong enough to run some sort of race. And as we saw in that semi-final, you know, definitely good enough, only 2 lengths behind a runaway winner. Right, let's move to semi-final number 2. Gary the Arb, as I mentioned on last week's show, the further he goes, the better he looks. The older he gets, the better he looks. Another strong running performance here from Gary the Arb in trap 4, 28-12, beating Iams of Sydney. Another model of consistency from trap 5. It was all railers near enough the whole way through this semi-finals. 4 and 5 qualified here, and it was quite a tight finish, this one.
Yeah, the beauty of this race we touched on last week was there was a lot of dogs that was reliant upon making an early move, and once headed, they weren't going to show their best form. Millbank Boiler left his race well and truly in the boxes, but it was Romeo Still who managed to win that early battle. But this Gary the Arb, I mean, Connections clearly had their eye on this event because they prepped their Pride and Joy a couple of weeks prior to the event starting, and it's just a dog that's taken to the track. I mean, really he has taken to the track, and he looks after himself. He just sits in off the pace, and you know, third and fourth bend, he just gets into a rhythm, and he's powerful, proven over 6 bends. Must give a mention to Irons of Sydney. What a stalwart for Connections. Gold collar winner. He makes another final. But Gary the Arb, nice dog. He's one of them dogs you can put in the van, take him to any track, and he'll run his heart out for you.
Yeah, 11 3/4 there, the winning distance, and 2 lengths after that. I mentioned a tight finish. Not as tight as the third semi-final, which we'll jump to now. Droopy's Pivotal was Tony's nap last week. Left it late, but this lad is in the form of his life. A Derby semi-finalist as well, remember, for the JR Racing Syndicate and Maxine Locke. And now it's my turn in trap 4, your other qualifier here. And it was, of course, the British bred Derby champion that cut out the running. Phil Rocky ran a massive race out wide for Phil Milner. Just narrowly missed out. But 3 and 4 year qualifiers, 28.46 the winning time.
Yeah, again, I mentioned last weekend, I would have given him performance of the round, Droopy's Pivotal. But I think this was even better run, Dave. Absolutely astonishing. Talk about knuckle down to the task when it matters. I mean, unanimous Liam was looking to control the inside, but he's a dog that needs to be out in front. So he was always facing an uphill battle when headed. And vying for early supremacy was Phil Rocky, and now it's my turn. But look at Droopy's Pivotal. Just so determined in recent weeks at Monmore. Powered home and got there where it mattered most.
It was a great run. He's in the form of his life. Gary the Arb, Droopy's Pivotal, the pair of them, strong running sorts. I think there's a slight suggestion that maybe, the track's been a little bit testing. I spoke to Mark Wallace. He thought the track was a bit slow last week, even though his proper Eris did 27.97. I just think some of the better dogs in this event were stronger running types. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, Creamer's risen to the top here. Yeah,
exactly that. I mean, that's the thing. You do always class Monmore as a speed 4 bends, but the strong running types have come to the fore for me. Obviously, these smash and grab types, they've not really been able to get away from these strong runners. And even when they've led, the strong runners have been on their case. And it just shows you that if you've got the skills, you can overcome adversity at Monmore.
Right, let's get to the final then. 8.31 on the advanced cards. That could change, but at the moment we're thinking it's 8.31. Race 8 on the card. The Ladbrokes Winter Derby Final 2025 is £10,000 up for grabs. Of course, live on the Premier Greyhound Racing stream or behind the red button on Sky Sports Racing. Gary the Arb on the inside has got the box seat here. They're all railers, 5-2 for Belinda Green and Mr. G. Smith. Iams of Sydney in 2 for John Mullins and the Iams of Boys Syndicate, 9-1. Droopy's Pivotal for the JR Racing Syndicate, Maxine Locke. 5s, Proper Eris for the MWD partnership, Mark Wallace, 5-4. Droopy Superstar for the 7 Racing Club, Mike Burton in trap 5 at 14-1. And now it's my turn at 22-1 for Richard Rees, Anthony Boucher and all the gang there. All the way out in trap 6, 22-1. Now, it wouldn't be the biggest upset ever in history if now it's my turn banged out, carved them up and went round in front. I don't think that's going to happen, but even though there's 6 railers here, Tony, I think you can almost make a case for every single dog in here.
Yeah, look, they're all there on merit for sure. I mean, Connections will be pleased that Gary the Arb's got track 1 because he could hold his position, gives him every chance of holding his pitch on the inside. But I just think it'll be irrelevant if Proper Eris comes away like he did in the semi-finals. I don't think there's a dog in there that could catch him. His sub 28 second time tells you that, and I know he's drawn 4. I felt he'd have the legs of the trio on the inside to make the bend in front. And good night, Nurse, if doing so.
Yeah, it's going to be 2 votes for Proper Eris in trap 4. Not 6 like he was last week, but I still think he'll get across. And he has just got that nice burst of early pace. He flies down the back as well. I think if he can hit that bend in front, that will be that. As strong as some of the runners in here, Gary the Arb comes home strong. Iams of Sydney's a Cat 1 winner over 6 bends. Droopy's Pivotal He's looking at a 5-timer here, and all 4 previous wins have come from almost last to first. I just think he's got the early boot to get off the front here. And it's, these big Monmore finals, I think this is one which is a bit of an anomaly in which it lacks brutal early pace. And I think he's probably got enough to just make the bend in front, clear the inside, and he'll be away and gone. So 2 votes for Proper Heiress there, the favourite in the Ladbrokes Winter Derby final at Monmore on Saturday night. Right, we are going to head now to the northeast. The Stars of the Future on the show on Thursday night up at Newcastle. It is the £12,500 Arena Racing Company Northern Puppy Derby. Always attracts a decent field. The locals are usually very, very tough to beat on their own patch. However, this year's final has got a slightly different feel to it. We've got an Irish trained finalist. We've got 3 runners from Romford as well, a Romford-based trainer. So we'll get into it then. We'll start with semi-final number 1 from last week. Now, Ballymac Lucia on the inside, 28.55, did the business, was a short price here, as well as a first one on the board for Maxine Locke. Greenwell Tyson in trap 6, your other qualifier. She doesn't mind switching inside, outside, coming from off the pace. A really, really nice bitch who's got a massive engine.
Yeah, the draw had worked out well. I mean, she looked a shoe-in, a qualifier at worst. Dave, she had a tremendous makeup on the rails, and she's very strong in the second half. She's knocking on the door to win a big event. She contested the Puppy Derby final at Toast, the runner-up in the Oaks at the same venue. But she's taken a shine to Newcastle. It was the little brothers Greenwell, Tyson and Crazy who was setting the early pace, but she was always loitering with intent. And once she had looked after herself, she powered up the home straight. 28.55, job's a good one.
Yeah, nice performance. Very game and classy performance there from Ballymac Lucia. Right, we'll move on to semi-final number 2. And well, I did tell you that Robert Gleeson wasn't coming over to make up the numbers. And what a run this was. Now, Droopy's Deploy turned up in the first round without a trial, without a look at Newcastle, which is a very risky business because it's a very tight turn. He missed the bend, caused trouble. He turned up in the semi-final. I'm not sure how much he actually learned from the first round, but he was drawn a little bit further out wide, give him a better chance to attack the bend. 28-10 here out the 5 box. This was a hell of a run. Ballymac Axel back in second in trap 3. 5 over 3, 28.010. This is in the, I think, top 5 or 6 runs ever in the history of Newcastle over the 480. Explain to me what we've witnessed here, Tony.
Well, I'll tell you what he did learn. He learned how to find a second off his first run, but it was a better draw for him. I felt he ran the bend a lot better being drawn out wide. Yeah. And the acceleration that he showed throughout, I mean, 4.52 split, ran the first 2 bends like a Rolls Royce and just sustained a strong gallop. 28.10 tells you how brilliant the performance was. He's clearly special. As you say, they've took the chance and thought, well, if we can get away with no look round in the first round, the dog's going to come on a bomb. And boy, did he. I mean, Ballymac Axel stayed on to finish second, but total isolation throughout Droopy's Deploy.
Yeah, he was a price-wise pick for me. Ballymac Axel, I think he's a really game salt, very strong over this sort of trip. So he's qualified. Plenty to find, though, with the winner there. Safe to say. Very, very nice performance. 28.10, Droopy's Deploy. What a run that is. Right, we go to semi-final number 3, which was won by my other price-wise pick, actually. Yahoo Maisie, the Puppy Oaks champion. Another one for Maxine Locke. 3 through to the final for Maxine and the JR Racing Syndicate. Swift Bullseye in trap 6, the other qualifier here. But the Black Jacket, just as she so often has shown already in her short racing career, has got the early pace to make all the running. Lovely performance.
Yeah, she's just no nonsense. I mean, she used that away and gone tactics to win the Puppy Oaks at Toaster, and she's just really ticking over nicely on her travels. Done the business at Central Park and back-to-back wins at Newcastle. The Swift Bullseye dog, I was a bit worried at going into the 3rd bend because he kept her honest for 3 bends, the Swift Bullseye, but she broke his heart. Any intentions he was looking to pass her, she just brushed them aside by kicking around the 3rd and 4th bends, and again another solid run, 28.50.
Yeah, I'll award you the forecast there, Tony, because on last week's show you did say he's quite a chasey type, this Swift Bullseye, and he could be a threat. You know, he could bustle her up, and he could be the one to chase her home, and that was the case. 4 over 6, 28.50. Right, let's get to it then, shall we? Let's have a look at the final. £8.54 at Newcastle on Thursday night, one of the biggest puppy events of the year, first one of the year as well. £12,500 Arena Racing Company Northern Puppy Derby final. We have got one railer. It looks a little bit different to that Winter Derby final, doesn't it? One railer. Ballymac here on the inside. 9-2 for the JR Racing Syndicate. Maxine Lock. Droopy's Deploy, who you just saw doing the business out of Track 5, goes in 2 as a middle for Mr. P. Allen and Robert Gleeson out of Ireland. Ballymac Axel 8-1. Sorry, the favourite's 11-10. Ballymac Axel 8-1. JR Racing Syndicate. Maxine Lock. In Track 3 as a second middle. Third middle is Yahoo Maisie, 7-2, again for the JR Racing Syndicate, Maxine Lock. Then we've got Swift Bullseye, 22-1 for Mr. M. Thompson, Raymond Howe, and Greenwell Tyson at 40-1 for John Flatty in the stripes. Listen, if Droopy's Deploy gets anywhere near 28-10, they're going to be running for second, and they'll be running for second from about halfway because they'll be away and gone. What are your thoughts on him switching back to the inside?
That's the worry. That is, I think if he would have been drawn a little bit further out, I mean, again, though, you would have probably preferred him on the inside of Yahoo Maisie. So that would be my only worry, being drawn 2. He could swing off a little bit, but the way I looked at the race, I thought he'll have the legs of 1 and 3. Now, Yahoo Maisie might just outgun him by the turn, but I think by the sprint boxes, Droopy's Deploy lit the front. And that being the case, I can just see Droopy's Deploy putting the race to bed. And then I'll take Ballymac, Lucia and Axel for second and third, because I think Yahoo Maisie, as much as she's a prolific winner, I think if she is headed by the sprint boxes, she's going to probably find things a shade tough. And I think Deploy will have the race in safekeeping by the third bend. Then Ballymac, Lucia and Axel will run on for the places.
Yeah, worthy favourite. Listen, 28-10 is not to be sniffed at, I can assure you of that. However, I've got to be with one. You know, stranger things have happened at Newcastle. I mentioned it a little bit earlier on. Very, very tight turn. And Droopy's Deploy was able to attack that first bend from out in Track 5, got round in front, opened up. Looks a lovely pup, doesn't he? However, he's now got to attack the bend from the inside with, you know, Yahoo Maisie, no doubt, going to be pacing up around his outside. He could miss the bend. He could run off at the bend. I've got to be with the top here. Ballymac Lucia, I think this is a brilliant, brilliant draw. You know, 2/1 is probably a solid forecast if you're thinking 2's going to win. But I think, you know, a decent place bet, each way bet, forecast play, whatever you want to do. I'm going to go for her to win. But I think you can cover yourself here with all kinds of permutations, forecast, place bets, whatever. But it might just fall right for her. And I love what I've seen with her. This 480 is definitely on the sharp side. She's very, very strong. Runner up in the Puppy Oaks. I think she can go one better in the Northern Puppy Derby. And I think she looks a big price at 9-2. I can't see her being out the frame. Nice draw, tucked away on the inside as the only railer. So it's going to be the top for me. 2 for Tony, and maybe a 2/1 forecast will give you that as well. That is the Arena Racing Company Northern Puppy Derby final. The stars of the future are on the show on the Premier Greyhound Racing Service on Thursday night up at Newcastle. Right, now to business time. Back of the net last week. It was very impressive. Droopy's Pivotal, last to first. Best bet of the week, Tony. Where are we off to?
Romford Friday, Dave. Race 3, early race. Breton's Boy for Nathan Hunt. Just runs in a one-off standard over the 400 metres. He's got the draw to overcome, but I just think it's a drop in class. I think he bangs out the boxes, makes the first bend in front, and that should be that. So Breton's Boy looks the obvious play in race 3 at Romford on Friday.
Okay, right. That is I'll just double check the time. 7:11 at Romford. Out of Track 4 for Nathan Hunt. I'm also going to go Romford. I'm going to go 9:28, which is the second from last race. Brilliant card. The last race is a belter as well. And I'm going to go another Nathan Hunt runner. So Friday night double, a Nathan Hunt double. I'm going with Track 1 in the 9:28. Gaytime Elmer on the inside in the red jacket. Now, I think there's going to be a little bit of crowding at the turn here. I can see 2, 3, 4 of these dogs all rush into the turn at the same time. But she will crucially have the inside line. I think the draw is everything in the 9:28 at Romford. I want to be on the inside. I want to be with Gaytime Elmer. I think she can do the business there. So it's going to be Breton's Boy for Tony and Gaytime Elmer for me on Friday night for this week's Naps. Remember, you can watch that live on the Premier Greyhound Racing Service on their website or behind the red button on Sky Sports Racing. That is it. That is a wrap for this week. It's half term, so I've got 1,001 things to do, Tony. So we'll wrap this up very, very quickly. Listen, another double header of Cat 1 action. Strap yourselves in, right? Stars of the Future on show, and Saturday night is a belter.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting racing. I mean, if the two favourites do what they did in the semis, then I think we'll see the favourites obliged. But this sport, nothing's ever set in stone.
Come on, the Ballymount Lucia, 9-2. Huge price. That's for me. Right, do remember to enjoy the racing. Get in touch with us. Drop us a comment. Drop us a like. And, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Or, of course, hit the like button on Facebook if that's where you are watching us. Enjoy the racing. Gamble responsibly. And we'll see you next time.